realness. All right, Fatty, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Theo, you there?
I'm here.
So introducing authentic realness. Realness. Hello, and hello again. Welcome to yet another episode of our Authentic Realness Podcast, ARP.
Realness.
And this is the one and only Aaron R. Plush. We do have Fabby back tonight. Fabby, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
I am spectacular as always. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to just allow that to just flow out like that. Spectacular as always, of course. Thank you. Anything new in your world? Anything you'd like to share with the audience since the last time you've been on 12 months ago?
No, it hasn't been that long. Nope, just excited to be here and excited to be back.
Excellent. It's always a pleasure to have you on to balance out Theo and his Darth Vader voice and all those other folks who have those extremely deep voices like he does. Theo, what's up, brother?
What's up, man? What's good with you?
Oh, gee, we doing it like that tonight. And what's new on your end, sir?
Living in a state of gratitude. Nothing changed.
I love it. The spirit of gratitude. Look at you, PK himself.
Yes, sir.
So we really about to make that move of the Preacher's Kid podcast, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes. You want to allow this to be your first time to talk about it?
For sure. So one thing that I am very much so passionate about is my position as a preacher's son. I was one of the ones who did not follow in my father's footstep of pastoring, but there's a lot of misconceptions around being in that first family. A lot of TV shows and movies have came out and they talk about the disdain and the things of that nature, but no one ever asks the why. All right, no one asks the why in why somebody does what they do.
Okay.
So one thing that my podcast will unveil is the why. The emotions behind the sacrifice and the things of that nature, growing up being a PK. And I'll be talking to various persons in the church, because all of us have had a different walk. Everybody's experience can be aligned together, but there'll be so many different stories that one may have endured through that. We'll be able to tell those stories in the next generation. They'll be able to look to us as a blueprint of how to get through those things and navigate through that position and the pressure that comes with it.
Nice. And what's going to be the name of it?
It's going to be called Son of a Preacher Man podcast.
Love that. Reminds me of that song. What song is that? I forget what it's called.
It's called Son of a Preacher Man.
Yeah, I actually was going to say, I think that's the name.
Fabby, you okay over there?
Yes, I actually have to say who sings that song.
Okay, that's a better question. Look at you. Theo, do you know that too?
Bruce Springsteen.
Okay. All right, then. Look at you.
No, that's not the one I'm thinking about then. It's a
no.
woman who sings it. But anyways, I digress. We'll say that for another time.
Or behind the scenes that you all do.
Dusty Springfield is who you thinking of.
Oh, okay.
Look at that music guy there. Those all songs. Good stuff there, sir. Well, Theo, all seriousness, definitely excited about that. As I've said to you behind the scenes, anything that I can do in the process of you launching your podcast, I'm more than happy to do and excited to see where this goes. And even within this setting, by the time we broadcast this particular episode, we would have already broadcasted the episode where we talk about Theo and his production, which you give kind of the background of what makes you equipped to be able to provide production for this podcast, which will lend itself for you being able to do it for your own, as well as just your journey and how you've got to where you are, and excited about seeing kind of that growth and development. Additionally, Fabi, we're excited about an upcoming episode of two things that will happen. One, where we talk about Fabi and her preparation as to how you prepare for these particular episodes. But the other thing that I'm excited about, and this is for you and Theo, is that I am going to give away the reins of leading an episode where, Fabi, you will have an opportunity to be the lead person, and I'll be more of a participant for an episode that you lead, and then Theo, the same thing for you. So that's going to be exciting to provide a different flavor dynamic of this Authentic Realness podcast, ARP. So are you all as excited as me about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to it.
Oh, indeed, for sure.
Oh, you must have thought it was rhetorical over there. But good stuff.
I'll take that.
Fair enough. Well, for tonight, let's jump right in. And our topic for tonight is one that we've talked about on so many different times, but I find with me, my thoughts definitely evolve over time. And this has been front of mind. I was having a really good conversation with a good friend recently, and Will, it's always good to talk to you, brother, like you, although you made that mistake and you're an alpha, but you're a good dude. And from a vantage point of, we always are able to have very challenging dialogue in all of our conversations. And we were talking about this particular topic of the power of the mind, mindset, and the power of your thoughts. And just how impactful the mind is on all parts of your life. And I don't know if you all have paid attention to this yet, but so much of the outcomes of life are truly predicated upon the thoughts that you had when you were going through the situation. Like, you think about those times like, oh, I'm going to do bad on this test. Oh, I'm going to just have this horrible interview. Oh, things are just not going to go well. And guess what? Exactly that happens. You do bomb the exam. You do bomb the interview. Things don't go well. And conversely, I have found the power of my thoughts, the power of my mind, the power of the mindset for me is when I'm thinking that things are going to go well, when I'm thinking that I am going to ace the test, when I am thinking that the interview is going to be amazing, typically that's exactly what happens. Now, what I've also found is it's not no magical moment. There's a level of preparation. There's a level of confidence that comes along with when you know you're prepared. But I also am of the mindset that preparation, planning, doing what I have to do in advance, all of that is a part of the power of my thoughts. All of that is a part of my mindset. All of that is directly associated with my thoughts. Because if I want to be successful, I don't care what it is, there's a level of preparation that I have to do. I've shared in this environment quite a few times that it's not about practice making perfection. It's all about practice making improvement. And a large part of that practice making improvement mantra comes from the mindset. So I would tell you all that my challenge for you tonight, and what I'm going to implore you on, there's that word again, that I implore you all to really check your mindset, your thoughts, and how you view things. And I can assure you, when you make that switch to positivity, when you make that switch to high road, when you make that switch to spirit of excellence, when you make that switch to just straight up positivity, you will see a change. You will see a shift. You will see greater. You will see greatness. You will see better. But it's up to you. And it starts with you deciding, not Fabi deciding for you, not Theo deciding for you, not your parents, not me, not anyone, not your spouse. It's you. You have to decide that you want better for you in your mind. And you will begin to see better. You will begin to see positivity. Now, there is no, again, genie moment where it's like, okay, I'm thinking positively now things are going to be great. Like, oh, great. No, it's a continuum. It's many folks will tell you that whole concept of even with the routine. Typically, it's 21 days. You do anything 21 days straight, it's now a habit. So challenge yourself on 21 days of positivity. Now, please understand that from a physical life reality, the odds of you having 21 great, amazing, wonderful days, very unlikely. Like, life is going to happen. But life happening does not have to impact your ability to still yet be positive. It does not have to impact your mindset of spectacular. It does not have to impact your thoughts of, although this just happened, I'm still yet going to allow my powerful thoughts, my powerful mind, my powerful mindset to still yet be in a place of gratitude, of thankfulness, of happiness, of joy, of positivity, of light, of greatness, of excellence. And it's only a matter of time that you will see greater. Fabi, immediate thoughts on all of that I've just said with that foundational component of looking at thoughts, power of the mind, power of the mindset.
Yes, I echo everything that you mentioned, especially I would say when you are starting to make those little switches in your life. It can sometimes feel like a huge stretch if that's something that you're not typically used to.
Okay.
But it's true that you really just have to stick with it and or modify it. I think sometimes when we think of routine, it's very rigid, and it's
Yeah.
like if you're not positive like all day, then X, Y, and Z.
You
But
failed.
yeah, so I think it's all about like having flexibility within that also is totally fine.
Yeah.
But
Agreed.
yeah, I definitely agree with everything that you mentioned. The mindset is very important. Your mind is very powerful. And I actually just came back from working out, and it's always like such a great time because they're always just affirming to you like throughout the workout, like you can do this, you can do that. And even one thing she said was, if you think you're thriving, you're thriving. If you don't think you're thriving, you're not. And it's so true. Like even in that moment,
Mm-hmm.
it's like something so simple, but it's like, yeah, you can really just think whatever you want to think. Like
Mm-hmm.
my whole thing lately is just being like delusional and thinking that like I truly am just like living my best life, or I want this or I want that. And it's like, who says that you can't want or be these things? It's really just all in your mindset. And it's just like affirming them and thinking them and saying them out loud. And it over time it will happen.
Good stuff there, my friend. What about you, Theo? Oh boy.
I mean, I can go with what has already been stated, but for me, just the idea of the initial question of Theo, how are you doing, and being able to command what I'm going through, and just saying that I'm grateful because it's a choice. It's what I choose to speak over my life and what I choose to be the outlook of my life.
Nice.
And like Fabi alluded to, you're not going. There's moments that may come, but at the end of the day, it's your choice on how you respond. It's your choice on what the fact of your mindset is going to be. So that for me, it just speaks that, it's a good thing that I've adopted that mindset, because I find myself not having days where I'm stuck in my moments, or stuck in the what I don't have, or stuck on the what I don't understand. It's all good. I'm gonna be grateful no matter what. And it really changes, like when you go into situations and you go into, like one of the previous conversations we had, when you go in to look at those offers and things of that nature, one thing I can say from an HR standpoint, they can tell when you're bummed out. They can tell when your day is going bad. People can read that. So how do you want your billboard to be? How do you want people to receive you? How do you want to be received? So just thinking about that from that standpoint for me.
Yeah, and one of the things that I just thank God for the ability to kind of process even what we're seeing in these episodes while we're seeing them, to be able to provide some caveats, some clarifiers, some moments of complete clarity. Let's be clear here. We're not telling anybody, as Fabi alluded to, that, hey, make your not so great moments seem like they're great, because they're not. Like, a thing is a thing. Allow it to be. The separator, though, is the thing doesn't have to completely disrupt your day. The thing doesn't
Mm.
have to mean that because this just happened, now everything is off. Like, so this whole positivity thing that I'm on, I got to reset it, because now I got to have 5 days of gloom and doom because I got to be in my feelings and I'm not hearing anything else. That's when it becomes problematic. So have your moments, have them multiple times. Do what you got to do. Allow yourself to be you. But in that, understand that there's still yet a silver lining in whatever it is that you're going through. And it's okay. And it's going to be okay. It's already okay. You just have to decide, what is your big picture? What do you really want out of life? And the key component that I want to make sure that we hit on here is that honesty component. It's that component of truth. It's that component of, as you say so often, Theo, it is what it is. Let it be that. But that doesn't have to shift the course of where you are in understanding the power of your thoughts, the power of your mind, or the power of your mindset. So again, that's the power of your mind, the power of your mindset, the power of your thoughts, and recognizing that you, each and every one of us, all 8 billion of us, we have the ability to impact mind, mindset, and thoughts. And we can push positivity into all of those spaces, even when life has happened, when life is lifing, because it's truly not if life happens, it's when life happens. How am I going to choose to respond? Anything else holistically from either one of you all in this whole realm of mind, mindset, and thoughts?
I will say, speaking from experience, is sometimes when you are going through something, it is a little bit more, as I mentioned, just challenging to switch that on sometimes.
Okay,
And so what I used to do is, like, at the end of each day, just think of like one thing that was
sure,
positive, even if
sure,
it was like the smallest thing.
sure.
Even if so, I think even just starting small sometimes is like easier, because then you can just grow from there, versus like sometimes jumping into a full time can feel maybe a little bit overwhelming, or you can divert if you're having a bad day. So I
Mhm.
think sometimes just saying, what am I grateful for today, or what was something that I did today that was like good, or whatever it may be, is also just like a good practice to start with.
Yeah. And I can tell you there are 2 other practices, well, 3 actually, that I think of, Fabi. The first one being is you can start your day that way. Of
Mm-hmm.
just like, what are those things that you're grateful for, that you're thankful for, that, or what are the positive things that I did yesterday? What are the positive things that I want to do today?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, regardless of what happens today, not irregardless, but regardless of what happens today. Yeah, I'm having my me moments today. But regardless of what happens today, here's where I have gratitude. Here's where I'm thankful. Here's where I want to be positive. Here are the things that I'd like to see happen. So that's one place. The next thing that I would say is truly having a singular list of things that you, throughout the course of your entire life, that you know that have been positive, and have that with you in this day and age of these iPhones and these notes and all these type things, and just have that note where every day you look at this note that has these 10 things, because again, you're just saturating your mind, your heart, your body, your essence, your energy with these positive things. And then this one, although just a distant cousin to this conversation, but it goes back to a list. One of the things that I'm often asked in the professional spaces as people are maturing in their careers is, particularly when you make that transition to becoming a people manager. And I always get the question of like, well, hey, Plush, when you're making that transition to a people manager, like what would be your number one advice item? And I always tell people to get a piece of paper out. And on that front side, I tell them to write down every bad attribute that's ever been presented by any manager they've ever had. And that's literally every manager you've ever had, any manager you've ever observed, like just bad attributes, those type things that you just like, oh, you cringed when it happened to you, when it happened to other folks, whatever the case might be. And literally make that a list. And then flip that same sheet of paper on the other side. And then write, what are all of the positive, amazing, wonderful attributes that you have seen in your own managers, in managers that you do like, in those mentors, sponsors, other people that are a part of your village of success and positivity. What are those things that they do? And then flip the paper back over, cross out, and put a big X on all those bad attributes and those things that the bad managers have done, and commit to, I will never do these things. So you got to keep the list so that you can have that reminder that these are the things that I will never do as a manager. Has an X on it, but you can still see them. But then flip that paper back over to that positivity side of those things that were those major attributes that you love, and allow that to be your guide. Notice there wasn't one word that I presented as to say what my attributes are. But this is about you. These are about your life experiences, which I can tell you now is custom made to you being a successful people manager. But again, if you think about all four examples, the one Fabi presented and the three that I just presented, they all go back to our topic for tonight. It's related to mind, mindset, thoughts, all three which are beyond powerful. Theo, what about you as we wrap this up?
I'm actually, taking notes. One thing I haven't discussed is, I'm in that holding period between contracts right now. So even the conversation that we're having at the current moment around the idea of the power of the mind, the mindset, and the power of your thoughts, it's speaking to me and reminding me of, you got this. You got this.
And more importantly, God's got it.
For sure.
And in that regard, brother, I definitely tell you that any assistance that Fabi or I can provide in that regard, we have a wealth of knowledge and contacts and all those type things. If you want to talk about what it is that you are looking for and what you want to do,
For sure.
now would be a great time to talk about that, because certainly if there are any listeners that have grown with you throughout these episodes, what are you looking for?
No, anything within the business analytical or analytics space that deals with background programming around the languages of SQL, Python, PowerShell, things of that nature. That's my wheelhouse.
So all of the analysts, the IT folks of the world, you hear this brother is available. Are you open to contract, part-time, full-time, consulting? What is it that you are seeking, sir?
Contract full time.
Okay. Well, I'm going to take this as an opportunity to say that we have folks listening, and Theo has already given out how he can be reached. Theo, let's provide that again.
So that is info@imtedwhite.com. IMTEDWHITE. info@imtedwhite.com.
Perfect. And by all means, Fabi and I will certainly extend any contacts that we have. And if there's any conversations that we can have outside of the setting, we're certainly open to doing that. Fabi, any response to Theo in that regard?
Yes, I'll continue to keep a lookout for you, Theo, and see if I come across anything and share it with you.
Oh, appreciate that.
Excellent. Let's look to the Lord. Heavenly Father, God, we just thank you right now, God, for yet another amazing and wonderful episode, God. God, we thank you for allowing us to talk so often about the mindset, and thoughts, and understanding the power in that area, God. God, we would ask that you would just continue to strengthen this particular podcast, that it might grow and develop in a way that's just amazing, that it might impact all of the ears that's listening in a way that they may grow and that they might be in a better place after listening. God, certainly you heard loud and clear, and you knew all about the petition from Theo in regard to employment before this particular call. So God, we are praying and asking for favor, that you would move in his life in such a tremendous way, God, that that next opportunity is right before him, God, and that you will provide it. And he will know that it has nothing to do with any of the contacts. It has nothing to do with him, but it's all you, God, that is providing this next opportunity and the next opportunity and the next opportunity and the one after that, God. God, I'd ask that you continue to cover this dark world that we're living in, God, because certainly there's just so much going on in it, God. So, God, we would ask that you would be with all of us, that you would cover our families, and that you would lead and direct, God. So, God, we love you, we adore you, we magnify you. And, God, it's in the glorious and magnificent name of your Son, Jesus, that we pray. Amen.
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 And to our listeners, it's so amazing to have you all on this journey with us. We thank you for all that you do, and know that the greatest part of this Authentic Realness Podcast, ARP,
Realness
is each and every one of you, and we certainly do not take you all for granted. We also want to give our shout out to Buzzsprout, as we do every episode, to be able to acknowledge that Buzzsprout is a major partner for this Authentic Realness Podcast, ARP, in a way that when the backend team uploads every Wednesday, that Buzzsprout gets us out on all these platforms. And like I said, at this point, I can't even call them all out. Like, I don't even know every platform that we are on. But that's because of Buzzsprout. So if you are seeking to explore this whole process of launching, broadcasting your own podcast, Buzzsprout is definitely the way. And in our usual, typical, every week closing way, until next time, let us all be and stay spectacular together.
realness.